Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. As always, we're kept completely free of charge by the adverts that you see around the screen here, so thanks for clicking on those, and thanks for coming back and viewing the site and viewing the charts. Now we're heading into the weekend, and the BBC seems to be covering a story in quite some detail about the degradation of the Arctic sea ice this year. So let's get some facts about that straight. This is the sea ice chart. The area of Arctic sea ice, the latest one. You see the months across the bottom here. Here's the sea ice extent at the left hand side, and each of these colours here represents a year. So the red line here is 2012, and the black line there is 2007, and the blue line at the top there is 2003. Now, I don't think we can dispute too much the fact that icing rapidly melted. Look, the ice rapidly melted from, it was around about the late part of July to the early part of August, look, and really came below this 2007 minimum. So certainly much lower than it had been in recent years. However, there's a couple of things that we need to remember here. One is that sea ice observations only began in 1979, so we're using a very narrow window of years. I mean, we are literally looking at what, 33 years? That's all the data that we have, and we're drawing conclusions from it and putting news stories out there. Secondly, there's a link tied in somewhere with the jet stream because of a paper that was released some time ago that says potentially there could be a link between the amount of Arctic sea ice and the jet stream. Now, that is very early stage research. In fact, that shouldn't even be out there, because it's making links that, yes, that paper's been peer reviewed and it's been done correctly, but it's for scientists to contemplate at the moment, to go through, to check the data, to see how we can build on that paper. That's the way that science is done. But it's out there. There are links being made in news stories between the jet stream and Arctic sea ice, and yeah, there may be a caveat in the news stories that says we don't really know what the link is yet, we're unsure, but the inference from the story is that somehow this is something that we have to be drastically alarmed about and can draw all sorts of conclusions about. It just isn't. Yes, this should be something that we think, hello, I haven't seen this before, this could potentially be quite a worrying development, but we just do not know whether this is a feature of the global cycle of climate, of the global climate cycle, or not. And it, you know, drawing conclusions like that from this data is very dodgy, particularly when at some point in the future we may need to present some data that actually does present something that could be potentially very worrying, and then what happens? People don't listen because they get used to the alarm stories. So I think we have to be very careful about that. Anyway, enough of the future, or months and years into the future. Let's take a look at what's going on now. And what I wanted to show you first of all is this chart from the ECMWF. Now, what it shows is the chart for the 17th of September. So that's Monday the 17th of September, so a week on Monday, and we got an area of low pressure here across Scotland, and notice we've got that trough there, look, in the 500 millibar flow. Jet stream's coming across the Atlantic like so, and oh goodness me, jet stream, it must be something to do with the ice. No, it's not. That's the normal jet stream. That's exactly where it should be. Okay, I really must stop this now. Okay, so there's the jet stream, look, flowing across the Atlantic. Let me just show you the the GFS ensemble chart for the same time. Look, it has the jet stream flowing across the Atlantic, but you notice how there are far fewer perturbations in the ensemble than in the ECMWF. Well, this is a feature of the models because the ECMWF is attuned to these medium ranges and operating at a higher resolution than the ensemble is, and you can see the difference that makes between a ridge of high pressure, or a weak ridge of high pressure across the British Isles showing on the ensemble, and this low showing on the ECMWF, but still with, look, a weak ridge across the east. So which one do we go with? Well, I think we're going to lean towards this ECMWF model, but it does show how you have to watch the resolution of the models. I mean, this ECMWF really brings more unsettled conditions through Ireland and through Scotland, with dry conditions down to the south. So it's this that we're leaning towards at the moment. And what about the rest of the ECMWF? Well, this is how it develops things. Look. Here's the chart for midnight midnight Saturday, so Friday into Saturday. Area high pressure back across the British Isles, so another fine day through Saturday. There we are going into Sunday, and look, it brings the trough out towards the west of Ireland, nudging a front into Western Scotland and Western Ireland, dry and fine out towards the east once again. Into next week, it starts to make things a little bit more unsettled, with a trough trying to get in from the west. Some pretty hefty periods of rain across northern and western areas, but relatively little further east. And it then really sets us up into this westerly flow, and all models tend to agree on this, that it will become quite windy during the middle to latter part of next week, as well as more unsettled, particularly across the north and the west. The jet stream really blasting through during the back end of next week, and then we find this ridge look just build again, as we've just seen, as we go through next weekend and into the beginning of the week after next. So let's get some detail on there. Well, here's the chart for midday today. High pressure look centered across the southern parts of the country, and it looks as if that's going to be there at least through the course of tonight. Looks as if it stays fine for tomorrow morning. I think the winds in the south, probably southeasterlies, blowing at around a 2 or a 3 across many southern areas. I think some mist and some fog patches first thing, but these will be clearing away quite quickly. Now, if you are planning on flying in the morning, I know we've got lots of pilots who watch this, particularly balloonists amongst you, just be aware of the possibility of some low-level jet streams affecting the southern areas tomorrow morning. That's where between about 100 and 500 feet we get a strong inversion, where the temperature rises with height instead of falls with height. We can get a band of very strong winds, and tonight really is one of those situations, one of those nights where these could occur. So just be aware of that if you're flying tomorrow. Increased cloud, northern and western Scotland, bringing some spots of rain. Through the day tomorrow, it looks like it's going to be another fair one. I think we're going to be finding it warm and sunny, some really good spells of sunshine around. And as far as temperatures are concerned, well, I think we're going to be finding temperatures easily tomorrow, probably rising up to, well, let's just show you. Temperatures tomorrow getting up to around about 25-26 degrees across many parts of southern England, much cooler further north at 15 or 16. And then as we head in towards Sunday, we find the ridge of high pressure still with us. It's another warm one on Sunday. I think what we're going to find is that this southerly flow still blowing at around a 3 or 4 in the western channel, 3s in the eastern channel from the south. I think picking up to around a force 5 across these western coasts. But for many, you can see there that Sunday stays dry through the morning. Although I think during Sunday afternoon, what we're going to find is these outbreaks of rain moving into western Scotland, through Ireland, and eventually coming into western parts of Wales too. Need to watch out for some showers just drifting up the channel during the course of Sunday, but for many of these eastern areas are going to be staying dry right the way through the day. Then overnight into Monday, well, we're going to find that this front will be moving its way southeastwards, bringing outbreaks of rain with it. Monday's a bit of a messy day, really. I think eastern areas tending to stay dry until at least late on in the day, when we could find 1 or 2 showers. But really, this front out to the west gets stuck across southern and eastern Ireland, across northwest England, western Wales, and it really may become heavy as it tries to drag its way eastwards during the course of the day. Now, behind this front, we've got much cooler conditions. Ahead of it here, we've got temperatures still getting into the 20s. I think overnight into Tuesday, we'll find that front gradually clearing its way southeastwards, and then we're going to be finding some much cooler weather following in behind. This cooler weather through Tuesday looks set to be bringing sunny spells and showers, most of them to the north and the west, few down to the south and the east, where it will be generally dry. I think temperatures are much cooler through Tuesday, though. We really will notice that, and we'll notice it again on Wednesday as this area of low pressure skips across the northern parts of England, bringing some pretty hefty bursts of rain across northern England and also parts of North Wales and possibly the Midlands too. Southern England tending to stay dry though through Wednesday, and it looks as if we should be dry and bright through Scotland and Northern Ireland once this feature has cleared away. And then as we get through in towards Thursday of next week, we find another area of rain coming into northern western Scotland, some of it quite heavy. Down to the south, it looks as if it should be a drier day on Thursday. I think then we're going to be going into this more windy period, as we've just seen. This is getting into the period around the 14th. and we're going to start to find the winds really picking up quite strongly up here, up towards the north, with some very strong winds coming through, possibly touching gale force across northern and western areas, but tending to stay dry to the south. And then really the 15th takes us into the charts that we saw on the ECMWF. Here's the ridge of high pressure building in, but then what we find next weekend is that, yeah, still got the ridge in for Saturday, but this low coming in, bringing fronts northwards through Ireland, through Scotland, through northwest England, bringing rain here. Dry to the south, low cloud affecting western and southern coasts, and then as we go through in towards the 16th and 17th, which is the Sunday and the Monday, we're going to find low pressure drifting into Scotland, becoming a feature there, and I think this brings more unsettled conditions throughout the whole of the country as it moves its way eastwards. After that, well, things look as if they are going to be drying up towards the last half of the month, but it's these features here we need to watch for. These are hurricanes, tropical storms coming into the Atlantic. These are getting dragged northwards into the areas of low pressure that are south of Greenland at the moment, becoming absorbed, deepening off these areas and zipping them across the Atlantic. So I think we've got to be aware of that as we get into the end of the month. So lots of information there for you once again. Hopefully that's been useful for you, and thanks again for watching. Keep the sun shining. Bye for now.